stop. Everyone calm down, please. So Star Wars The Force Awakens was exactly what I expected it to be. Is that a good thing? A bad thing? I don't know. Let's find out. I gotta keep these people here to the mid-video ad. First off, one of the 6 of you who haven't seen this movie yet are probably gonna ask some questions. Is the movie bad? No. Is the movie great? No. So the movie's decent? Yes. This is a very solid movie. It's very well done. The acting is really good. The music is phenomenal. The special effects are great. The directing is very good. And the action is fun. That's all you need to know. If you want to see this movie, then go see this movie. If you don't want to see this movie, then don't go see this movie. It's as simple as that. So if you don't want this movie spoiled for you, don't watch the rest of the review. I'll give you 10 seconds to click off. Alvin and Theodore die in a horrible car accident. I felt The Force Awakens deserves a nice, in-depth, long review. So this should hold you all over until a certain someone gives this film the proper analysis it deserves. See what I did there? So I like The Force Awakens a lot, but it's hard to ignore how familiar everything is. The movie has quite a few problems which I will get into later. Let's talk about all the good stuff first. First of all, it's not the prequels. Thank Christ. Not only does the film not use anything that was established in the prequels, they flat out take time to destroy everything the prequels set up. A planet similar to Coruscant is destroyed, and it destroys the Senate, basically. The clone army has been replaced completely. JJ knew what we wanted to see, and it did not include Jar Jar. Jar Jar is not even mentioned in this film. And if he didn't die at some point before this movie takes place, he would have died most likely when they blew up that goddamn planet with the stupid Senate and Dexter Jettster. I also love the way this movie looks. It's a perfect blend of classic Star Wars and J.J. Abrams' fast-paced, free-flowing style. The film is a technical marvel, from the effects to the action to the music. John Williams' score is like the best soundtrack of the year, maybe. There's no denying how beautiful it is. I especially love that song, Snoke. Gives me the chills. I also really like the actors. Notice I didn't say characters, I said actors. The characters are fine, but the actors do a great job of fleshing out their characters. Finn and Rey are given a lot to do, but characters like Poe Dameron and Han Solo and Kylo Ren aren't given that much. But luckily, the film was very well cast. Overall, it's hard to deny enjoying this movie. It works very well and it gives the audience everything they want. But to me, a good film gives the audience everything they want. And a great film gives the audience everything they want. And more. Mad Max gave me everything I wanted. And more. Audiences are very satisfied with getting the bare minimum. Some examples being like Jurassic World, which gave the audience the bare minimum in character development and action and intrigue and overall quality, but everyone still went apeshit over it. Now, The Force Awakens didn't give us the bare minimum, but you can't help but feel they could have tried a little bit harder to make something original. All of the problems I had with this movie lie in the script. If the script had been more polished, it would have been much better. As it stands now, it's an okay script, with lots of talented actors and a talented director holding all the weight. And no, the problems with the movie aren't like little shit. I've read a bunch of stuff online, reasons people don't like this movie, and they're just so stupid.
According to Poe Dameron, he landed somewhere in the desert while Finn stuck in his chair after crashing with the fighter. During the course of the film, Finn finds Poe's jacket. But how could Poe possibly lose his jacket while wearing it during the crash?
Well, I saw the film twice and I took note. Poe actually takes off his jacket before crashing. So yeah, why he took off his jacket, I don't know. Maybe he was a little sweaty from running around. Point is, he took off the jacket.
Kylo Ren refers to Darth Vader as his grandfather, when in actuality, he's Han and Leia's son. Then Luke Skywalker would be his uncle, which means Vader would be his great-uncle, not his grandfather.
What? Here are the real problems with the movie. Number one, it played it safe. This movie did exactly what I thought it'd do. It's essentially a remake of New Hope. Literally, plot point by plot point. People are going like, there's some similarities with New Hope. But no, it's the exact same thing as New Hope. There's some stuff added, sure. But it's a remake of New Hope. Open on the bad guys capturing a droid. Then one of the rebels hides a message in the droid. the droid makes its way into the desert, where it is picked up by a random desert dweller. Then, the main character meets up with another main character, and they go find the rebellion, narrowly escaping the bad guys. On the way, they are stopped by a ship, where they meet another main character, and pick them up to go to the rebellion. Then it's revealed that the bad guys were building a Death Star, again. It worked so well the first 2 times he did it. Then the bad guys destroy a planet with the Death Star. Then the rebellion makes a plan to destroy the Death Star. Then they attack the Death Star, then they blow it up. Again. Sure, they changed some things, like instead of running into the Death Star by accident, they run into Han and Chewie by accident. They don't confront Kylo Ren till the end of the movie. Little things like that. But I have a feeling the only reason they did those things is because they were like, okay, it can't be exactly the same. Number 2, that's a story for another time. Rey finds Luke's old lightsaber and asks, "Where did you get this?" And the weird alien lady says, "That's a story for another time." The movie does this quite a bit, and it starts to get a little annoying. Everyone made a big deal about Captain Razmataz, but Captain Razmataz didn't do anything in this movie. She was there to give Finn orders, and then at the end of the movie, Finn's like, "I don't take orders from you anymore." And that was it. I'm gonna blame marketing for that one. But one last example of this is with Kylo Ren, who isn't really given a strong motivation in this movie. His motivation is that he wants to be like Darth Vader, but he can't. It's established in the movie Kylo Ren turned to the dark side for some reason. But I would have liked to know why. I would have liked some insight as to what happened there. I understand this is what happened in the original Star Wars 2. They just said Darth Vader was seduced by the dark side, and that was it. And it kind of bothered me in A New Hope also, that they didn't establish Darth Vader's character. But the difference is, in A New Hope, it really didn't focus on Darth Vader that much. There were scenes with Darth Vader in them, but he was never given, like, emotional moments. He was just the bad guy. In this movie, they try to flesh out Kylo Ren, but they do it, like, halfway. Like, you're given some of his character, but not all of it. Like, what went wrong with Kylo Ren's training? Couldn't you tell us that, at least? I'm aware they're saving this for another movie, but you need to add context to this movie so I can understand what the villain's trying to do. But instead it's along the same lines. Kylo Ren was seduced by the dark side of the Force. But why? Because he's a wimp and he wants to be like Darth Vader? Is that it? It doesn't feel organic to the story, it just feels like they shoved it in there. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint exactly why, but it is a legitimate problem I have with this movie. I'm not saying you have to give him a 10-minute long scene, because I don't want this to turn into Age of Ultron, which is just a giant clusterfuck. But just like 3 extra lines of dialogue could have fixed this. Number 3, they all understand how to use a lightsaber and use the Force within seconds. In Episode 4, it took Luke the entire movie to learn how to use a lightsaber. It took Luke the whole 5th movie to understand how to use the Force. And he's still lost to Darth Vader. 1 extra movie of training later, and he's just barely able to defeat Darth Vader. When Obi-Wan did that whole Jedi mind trick thing, I thought that was just because he's a seasoned Jedi. He's been doing this for years. Like, that's a power you get after like 50 years of being a Jedi. Meanwhile, Rey just knows it within seconds. Don't you need training to know how to do that? Same thing with the lightsaber. It's established that Rey knows how to fight, and Kylo Ren probably knows a little bit also, but Finn doesn't know any of that shit. They say in the movie he was like a janitor. Stormtroopers don't know how to fight, especially with a lightsaber. I'm not even sure how you turn the goddamn thing on. But sure enough, in this movie, the second she gets a lightsaber, she knows how to use it. Finn knows how to use it. Rey knows how to push things with her mind. Rey knows how to mind control people. That's a legitimate complaint, and it bothered me. Then there are minor things, like there's some sound design issues I noticed. There's a scene they're in Han Solo's ship, and for some reason there's no, like, footstep sound effects. And I double-checked this, because again, I saw the movie twice. And they're running on metal grates, and you don't hear footstep sounds. And then there's the scene where Rey finds the lightsaber, and she's like, I don't want to be a Jedi, and she runs into the woods for some reason. Like, where's she going? But that's pretty much where my complaints end. If I had to give it a rating, which I usually don't do, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. It's probably the 3rd best Star Wars movie. I like it better than Return of the Jedi. I feel it's more cohesive. It's a repackaging of all the same stuff. Do you know the lengths I went to avoid spoilers for this movie? All that work to avoid spoilers, and then 5 minutes into the movie, I was able to predict everything. Even Han Solo dying was the most obvious thing in the world. I give movies credit for originality and unpredictability. And this movie has none of those things. Great movies have tons of new ideas. Why give credit to a film that does nothing different?
Harrison, you've tried for years to get the character of Han Solo killed. You went out of your way to kill Han Solo, yet you're back for this movie. What's going on?
It's exactly what I expected from J.J. Abrams, who basically made a career off of repackaging other movies. Like, do you have anything new to say?
No.
Oh, I guess that settles it. One last problem I have with this movie is, like, the main plot. Try to understand my reasoning. So the main plot of the movie is that they're trying to find a map to where Luke Skywalker is. And they need all 8 pieces of the map to find where Luke Skywalker is. Okay. The Empire has 7 out of the 8 pieces, and the Rebellion has 1 out of the 8 pieces. Until later in the film where R2-D2 wakes up and gives them the rest of the pieces. Okay, let's look at a map that's familiar to us. This is a map of the world. So the Empire has 7 out of the 8 pieces, right? And for some reason they need 1 more piece to find out where Luke Skywalker is. But why do they need that piece? Because the map clearly leads to that empty spot in the map. So why don't they just search that entire area they don't have, instead of trying to find the droid that has the last piece of the map? To me, it's much easier just to explore that section. Vice versa, the Rebellion has that 1 piece of it. The 1 piece that actually reveals where Luke Skywalker is. So why do you need the rest of the pieces? You have the 1 that reveals where he is. Anyway, that's it. So now's the part where I try to predict what's going to happen in a movie that's going to come out 5 years from now. So here's what I think is going to happen. Okay, first of all, Rey is definitely Luke's daughter. I'd be very surprised if she wasn't. It's also set up in this movie that Rey's family left her for some reason. So in this movie they say Kylo Ren was trained by Luke, most likely with Han and Leia's supervision. I can't find their age online, but Adam Driver's 32 years old and Daisy Ridley's 23. So I'm just gonna assume that's the age of the characters. Rey was abandoned by her parents at about the age of like 8 or 9, around there. So this movie takes place 10 years after her parents abandoned her. So at some point after episode 6, Luke met up with some chick, they got married, and they had a kid and they named her Rey. Since the Force is genetic apparently, Rey has the Force. So did Kylo Ren, who had been born 10 years earlier. Luke decides to train Kylo Ren, and then for whatever reason, it's not set up yet, Kylo Ren turns to the dark side. Maybe Rey was a better Jedi than Kylo Ren, or had more power, or something, and he got jealous, and he turned to the dark side because he thought that'd give him more power. I don't know why. But the point is, Kylo Ren turns to the dark side, and then does something drastic, maybe even kill Luke's wife, who was Rey's mother. And then once Kylo Ren turns to the dark side, Luke and Rey are in danger. Luke knows that if Rey stays with him, she's going to be hunted for the rest of her life. So he decides to throw her on a random desert planet and go away. So Rey grows up on that desert planet, and then the Force guides her back to Luke. Maybe Luke knew that the Force would lead her back to him once she was ready. It was the Force, it was destined to happen. That's the movie's way of explaining coincidences. So then at the end of episode 8, this will be revealed, and Kylo Ren will be like, I killed your mother, and then Rey will be pissed, and then they'll fight. Beyond that, I don't really know. I'm looking forward to the next film because a man by the name of Rian Johnson is directing it. Rian Johnson directed Brick and Looper, which are both fantastic movies. But wait a second, who's directing episode 9? Oh, what did he direct?
Do my clip.